The modern audience is the 42 people who are playing Concord and the 9 people playing Dustborn, right? There is no modern audience. But it's a really fascinating conversation to see the failure associated with this. So much so that when you go to the Concord page on PlayStation.com, the game doesn't even exist anymore. They've totally scrapped the idea of Concord on their website. And the memes of this were outstanding yesterday. We saw all sorts of, like, this came down and Kick was like, hey, exciting news. We just added a Concord category. Stream this game and a new hero shooter on Kick. Reply with your clips. And, people pass that around. It's pretty funny. We saw G Prime, who's been on our show the other day. He's a cartoonist, and he had this. He says, hey, Concord, you doing all right, buddy? Haven't heard from you in a while. And you go up and, the guy's hanging from the rafters up there, unfortunately.
Damn.
That's pretty rough. And then we saw the aspect of people are trying to level themselves up. And I don't really understand what's happening here, but apparently Concord players are people are in the game, all the dozens of people who are playing this game are going in and throwing them off cliffs to max to try to grind as fast as they possibly can.
It probably gives one experience per game played, so they're trying to end the game as quickly as possible.
Like I said, the memes of this were great. And this is from Ross Tweets Games yesterday. He's like, oh, was nice to get out of the house and leave the internet behind for a bit. Did a bit of shopping and finally bought Concord. Can't play until Saturday, but looking forward to trying it out. Right? Saw this a lot yesterday where people were like, ooh, laughing about it and stuff. And GameStop was like, well, I got some bad news for you, which was, pretty funny stuff because the game will be shut down in 3 days. So I guess 2 days now. So it's not even going to make it to Saturday. So he can't even try it,
That's crazy.
Well, he's like, you're the one who sold it to me. and GameStop responded like, so about that, right?
That's some good GameStop tweeting.
Yeah, that's some high quality social media engagement right there. Right. Okay, so here's the thing though, is everybody in the world knew this game was going to fail except for Sony and the media. Everybody saw this was going to fail. And it came out. So this IGN writer, let's go over to That Park Place for this story. It says IGN writer Stella Chung claims PlayStation never believed in Concord after the game is shut down less than 2 weeks ago. So she was upset. The idea that hey, how come you gave this game less than 2 weeks to succeed? My response to her is, do you own 2 copies of Concord? And if not, are you allowed to complain about it? The answer is no, absolutely not. But so she was upset at the idea of this being. It says it's very clear PlayStation didn't believe in this game from the start. She was saying, my heart breaks for Fireworks Studios. The fact that it wasn't given at least 6 months to properly sit through a season and adjust as a proper live service game is insane to me. It's very clear PlayStation didn't believe in this game from the start and support it. Keeping in mind that they had a full marketing campaign. They released a custom controller about it. They very clearly had big plans. Keep in mind that Concord will also be featured, a game that will not exist by the time the show runs out. There's literally an entire show that's going to be featured around Concord. There's going to be an episode of a series that's going to be built around the Concord video game.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So there's that.
By the way, you can still buy the Concord controller, the limited edition. It's still available on the PlayStation website.
This is, by the way, level 32, mom, she, her. So good for Jazz. She said, gaming Twitter needs to hear this right now. You think it's cool to hate things. It's not. It's boring. So talk about what you love and keep quiet about what you don't, right? So she posted that. And this response, I think...
them sad about this.
What's that?
I love watching them sad about this. This is what I love, seeing them cry about this reaction.
Right. So Nightwear over here on Twitter with 591 followers says, And how the fuck am I supposed to do that when the things I love are gradually being scuttled in favor of making more Concords, more Dustborns, and more Star Wars Outlaws? Because the cruel and unfortunate truth is that the more good vibes only people like you are willing to pay for it, right? And I think there's a larger aspect of this, right? When you think about this modern audience, I keep saying it doesn't exist. We all know this doesn't exist, because if they did exist, they would support these modern ideas, right? When you see a game like that, 2 days ago, Malcolm, this idea of the black trans character in Concord was out, right? That was 2 days ago. The next day, it was shut down. You would think that, and clearly they had an idea going into yesterday that they were going to shut this down. It wasn't like a snap decision, right? But you would think that the player count on Steam and on PlayStation, if that was a marketing tool of like, hey, modern audience, we have a trans black person in our game as a character that you can play. Those who are so passionate about it would go out and they'd fork over $40 and support Concord because they believe in it so much. They want to support this so much. But you know what they didn't do is go out and spend $40 on Concord. So shut the fuck up. You know what I did? I spent $80 on Concord. So it's like I'm tired of hearing people complain about things when they don't, and ultimately their actions don't reflect what they're complaining about. And I think that's the moral of a lot of this story here.
I actually have a question for you, Craig.
Yes, Blabs.
What did the missus say when you showed her your 2 new video games of the day?
She hasn't seen them yet, Blabs. Don't tell her.
For real?
No, she doesn't know. She doesn't come back in my box. I got my studio back here, but this is my space, man space, Blabs. Star Wars Acolyte, failed. Doctor Who, failed. Star Trek, failed. Indiana Jones, failed. Rings of Power, failed. Dustborn, failed. Concord, failed. Star Wars Outlaws, failed. Starfield, failed. MCU Phase 4, failed. If you black pill, it means you're gay. But he's just kind of pointing out the failures that are tied to a lot of this stuff. You know, specifically a lot of these are built around existing IP. Well, I guess the Indiana Jones, Star Trek, Doctor Who, etc. Those are existing IPs. Star Wars. This was an excellent tweet put together by Look at My Meat One over on X. A comparison between a carrot and a single carrot and Concord here. The price of the two, obviously the price of the carrot, 25 cents, Concord, $40. Production time needed, 2 months to make a carrot, 8 years for Concord. The cost, $2 a pack of seeds, and $250 million for Concord. The biggest things, can you eat it? Yes, you can eat the carrot. No, you cannot eat Concord. Is it recommended by experts? Yes, the carrot is, and no, Concord is not. Is it well received by the public? Yes, the carrot is indeed received well. The Concord is not. And of course, the shelf life is probably the most important thing. The 21 to 29 days for the carrot versus only 12 days of Concord right there. So pretty funny stuff right there.